Live at the Nasdaq market site in Times Square, I'm Elise Southwell, and this is Nasdaq Disruptors. Today we're talking about accelerator firms. These are firms that offer valuable services to startup companies and entrepreneurs, services such as mentorship and investment. Today we're here with Murat Aktahanoglu, who is the co-partner and managing director of Entrepreneurs Roundtable Accelerator, which is New York City's largest tech accelerator. And he's going to talk to us about how they help startups and how we can get into the nitty-gritty of what accelerators are all about. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having us here.
Of course. What is ERA?
So ERA is an early stage venture capital fund and accelerator in New York City, which means we invest in early stage tech startups and we support them through mentorship and other resources.
Can you give us a quick 101 on what is accelerator programs?
Absolutely. So typically, angel investors and venture capital firms, they give cash or other resources to startups, and then they kind of disengage and they hope the startup succeeds. What we do is we invest in early stage tech startups, and then we give them cash. On top of that, we give them office space, and we group them together into like 10 to 15 companies. And then we invite our expert network of 500 mentors, plus we have 12 venture partners and other 50 corporate partners. And this huge network of experts, they come in and help the startup with every aspect of the company, from technology to product to marketing to sales and even fundraising.
Wow.
So that 4-month period is a very intense period where every startup meets many, many mentors, and they keep working constantly and they get more customers. And at the end of the program, there's a demo day where all the companies pitch to around 1,000 investors. And then after that, when they are successful, we keep investing in these companies and keep supporting them until they exit.
So there's angel investment firms, there is venture capital firms, and accelerator firms. And
Right.
the difference between, can you explain them very quickly?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So angel investors are individuals. They're investing their own personal money into startups. They are mostly engaged like once a month or maybe at most once every 2 weeks. Venture capital firms are professional fund managers. They give money to startups and then they open their Rolodex and they make introductions, and sometimes they get on the boards. Versus accelerators, we give the companies the same cash, and then we give them office space. We talk to them every day. We fix all of their problems. We try to understand what they need. We make introductions. We bring in the mentors. We couple them with the right B2B sales mentors. We couple them with the right product mentors. So we, in a way, we become part of the company and try to get them to the next level.
Are accelerator programs new?
So actually, they are not new. It's been 13 years since the first one, which is Y Combinator, started in Boston. After 3 years, they moved to California, and then there's Techstars and others started. So we started in 2011 in New York City as the first accelerator in New York City.
Why New York City?
Because we love New York. I'm originally from Turkey, but I lived in Silicon Valley from 1993 to 1998. And then I was like, I want to get out of here. I moved to New York. I've been in New York for 20 years. I just love New York. I think that's why we're all here.
So how long has ERA been in business?
Since 2011. So we've been very lucky that we actually started as a nonprofit in 2007 to help New York startups meet with each other, with investors. And then after 4 years, my partner, John Axelrod, and I, we decided New York needs an accelerator. And we pulled together our network and started ERA in 2011 with our first class.
Can you talk about the application process?
Absolutely. It's the easiest thing. It's on our website. You can go answer around like 10, 12 questions. And then we read all of our applications. We get around 1,500 to 2,000 applications every 6 months.
Wow.
And then we invite people for an interview. And then we interview around 150 companies. Then we go into final interviews around 50 companies, and we bring it down to 15. So we invest in like 12 to 15 out of 2,000 applications.
And that's every 6 months?
Every 6 months, yes.
Is the process competitive? I mean, obviously with 2,000 applications, but is the selection process competitive?
It is, I think, very competitive. We meet amazing teams, amazing companies, so we are very lucky. We also get applications from all over the world and all over the US, not just New York. So around 10% of the companies that joined us, we invested in 165 companies so far. around 10% moved from other countries to New York for us, like from Korea, China, Israel, South Africa, Ukraine, Denmark, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, and Canada. So we are very excited.
Is that to say because maybe they want to be in the New York scene? Obviously, they like what the ERA offering, or are there not accelerator programs in their country of origin?
It's a great question. I think even if there are great programs, US is the largest market in the world, around 23% of the whole global GDP. So all global companies, I think, are interested in coming into the US market. And with our huge network of 500 mentors, they see us as a great way to enter the US market.
Do you only focus on tech companies?
So we are very flexible. We are open to many different ideas, but there has to be a tech angle in marketing or some product. So we've been very successful with all kinds of different companies.
So when an entrepreneur or an early stage startup applies to ERA and they're in this 6-month period, is it only about the numbers?
Not really. Actually, when we invest, at the stage that we invest in, those startups don't really have numbers like the public companies. So we really invest in teams. We believe in the teams. And from when we looked at our past investments, the most successful companies, we invested in them because of the team. For example, Triple Lift has been on the program, and Cartflight. So those two companies are now very successful. But when they joined us, they were just like 2 people, not even a dog, just 2 people, no dog. And we believed in the team and we invested in them. So that's what we do.
So is it 2 people with a business idea and a business plan, or a working business?
So it really depends. If the team is very strong with domain expertise and prior like success stories, we focus on that. If not, we look at a prototype, like one customer using it, somebody getting value out of the service. So it's really flexible since we are so early stage. But sometimes we have companies that join us with around $2 million in revenue, and like they raise money before us, and then they come join us to scale their operations as well.
I know there's tons of people watching, obviously people with companies, entrepreneurs, and then other people watching that are like, I have a great idea. How can I? Is that a possibility? What would be the first step for that person that has the idea?
I think that's a great question. The first step should be they should try to convince one other person to do it with them. That's a great validation. If they can convince one other person, maybe they will find more people and maybe they will convince us eventually.
Are there any traits that you look specifically for in teams or entrepreneurs?
Great question. We look at domain expertise, personality, and the team dynamics. So we look for people who have strong team like dynamics. They are functional teams. When they have a disagreement, they don't just blow up and have a fight, but they keep working through. So we try to understand the grit of the team. Like, are they just going to quit when things go like badly, or are they going to keep going? So those are, as you can see, they are not very quantitative. They are very qualitative. So it's very difficult to assess. So it's a very difficult job.
Sure, sure. So you started in 2011.
Right.
What's your background?
So I have a computer science background. I have a master's degree in computer graphics from Turkey, and then I moved to Silicon Valley. I worked there for 5 years, and then obviously, I love New York. I love jazz. I love the life, everything. So I moved to New York 20 years ago, and I did tech startups, and eventually, launched the nonprofit Entrepreneurs Roundtable in 2007, and then exited my last company, and then started ERA with my partner.
What was the idea to start ERA?
It's a great question. So 10 years ago, New York was not like this. There were not too many angels. There were not too many VC funds. People couldn't find each other. So at the time, we thought that eventually or very soon, New York is going to be a great place for startups because there's so much capital, so much talent, great place to live. People would want to move here. And then in 2010, we looked at New York and we couldn't believe that there were 0 accelerators in New York City. So we started the first one. It was too obvious. And now there are so many, and it's great for the ecosystem. We love every investor in New York City. We work with them together. So New York City is right now the 2nd largest venture capital market in the world, obviously.
Wow.
Yep.
What are your biggest success stories that have come out of ERA?
Right. So we've been very lucky. For example, around 10% of our portfolio exited so far.
Wow.
And for example, the latest exit we have is SaySpring, one of our voice skill prototyping companies. Adobe acquired them. And then Mesobit was acquired by OpenX. Buzz Table was acquired by Cisco. And then we had Public Stuff acquired by Acela. So, and then along the way, some of our companies really scaled up, like Triple Lift. They are doing great, Cognical and also Cardflight. So we have many companies that are doing really well. But obviously, if there's an audience out there saying, oh, I should angel invest, we also had many failures as well. So it's not not every investment becomes a unicorn.
Is there like a percentage ratio?
Right. There's a common perception or like common idea in the VC community that if 1 or 2 investments out of 10 do well, you are like an amazing investor. So 10 to 20% of your portfolio, if they exit, then you'll do well.
Then you're amazing.
Right. You're amazing.
Murat, what's the best part of your job?
So I'm a tech person, I'm an entrepreneur. So every morning when I wake up, I get so excited because I will come to ERA and I will face all these like amazingly good news from many different companies and also amazingly bad news from many different companies. So I love that every day is different. And I love working with people who are passionate. Every morning they come in and they like love what they're doing. It's an amazing environment. So I love ERA.
One of the things you told me earlier before we started, can you talk just about the office space? I think that's so cool.
Right. So our office is around 15,000 square feet. We have around 120 people. All of them are entrepreneurs. Like we call it like a circus mixed with a zoo. It's so great because our mentors also join us. Our LPs, our investors come by. So every time like somebody comes in, they meet different companies and there are different discussions. And we do a lot of different events. So it's a really very dynamic, passionate entrepreneurial space.
And you're in one office in New York City.
Right. We are at Madison and 48, and we are very central, so all of our mentors can come to our space. And, you know, we are always excited to have more mentors.
So Nasdaq is home to many entrepreneurs, as you know. What advice would you give entrepreneurs watching? So
I think one thing we've seen is the most important thing for a startup is execution, which requires grit. So you have to persist. You should not give up on your ideas until the time that you understand it's a bad idea. But perseverance, I think, is key. So you have to be passionate and just push forward, go through walls for your idea.
That's great. Murat, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for watching. I'm Elise Southwell, and this is Nasdaq Disruptors. Have a great day.